Hello and welcome back to Red Fox Network. I'm your host Ian Dorsey alongside my partner Tyler Gregory.
Marist Athletics finished up its spring season last week, where the women's rowing team won the MAC championship and will head to the NCAA tournament in the coming weeks.
However, the same could not be said for Marist Baseball, who fell to Canisius in 3 games in the MAC tournament.
Let's check out some of last week's action.
Marist women's rowing, they're here to defend their 2019 MAC championship after 2 years with no tournament. Let's get started. Preliminary rounds. First race of the day for Marist Varsity 4's boat, made up of all walk-on students. They came out hot as they took a commanding win in their first race. They're heading to the finals. Second race for Marist on the day was the second Varsity 8s. They also end up winning in their heat. Last race of the preliminary rounds with the Varsity 8s, they have no problem. They win and all of the women varsity boats are headed to the finals. MAC championship finals. Varsity 4 is up first as they win. Put Marist on the board. Next race, second Varsity 8s. This race was real tight up until the end, until Marist made a last-second push. They also win. Final race of the day, Varsity 8s looking for a clean sweep here. This race neck and neck to the finish with Stetson. Boom! The Varsity 8s complete the sweep, winning by 0.6 thousandths of a second. Varsity women's rowing is headed to the NCAA tournament. All right, so I'm here with Hillary Anderson, part of the women's rowing team. Congratulations on winning the MAC tournament the other week.
Thank you.
So how was competing in your first MAC tournament, and what were some of the thoughts you had after winning your race?
Competing in the MACs was just such an exhilarating and exciting experience to be a part of. I'd never actually gotten to go previously, so it was just crazy that I was there with my team. We were pretty frustrated because we obviously didn't have much of a season this semester due to COVID. So when we got on the water and only had 3 weeks till MACs, it was kind of scary and we just really didn't know what to expect from ourselves. So we kind of went into it blindsided and we're like, we're just gonna do what we can and see what we got. So winning was just something we really didn't expect, but it was just an amazing outcome.
So what are some of the things you and your team are looking forward to in the NCAA tournament, and what are some of the goals you guys have set?
We're just kind of going there to, again, just have an amazing experience and see what we can do. We're just excited to have more water time, honestly, because we really didn't get as much as we wanted this year. Nationals is definitely a different story than MACs because it's just so many big schools. So it's a little nerve-wracking, but it'll just be exciting to go and see what we can do again, more water time. Our goals kind of are just to beat one boat, beat a couple boats, and hope for the best and just have a good time with our team and connect more and stuff like that.
Yeah, I got you. So with everything going on with COVID, do you think it makes it even more special that you're going to be competing in the NCAA tournament this year?
Yeah, I definitely think it's just such a privilege that we get to go this year because obviously our season was cut short last year, which was just such a heartbreaking experience for us and all the seniors. So I'm really excited to just be here and be able to compete and just, be with all these other teams who've had more water time, but just do our best. And yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Hillary.
No problem. Thank you.
After an 8-3 loss in Game 1, Marist looks to bounce back in the second game of the doubleheader. In the top of the third, trailing by a score of 4-0, Nico Amory steps up for the Red Foxes and hits a bullet into right field that brings home a runner from first. This was Amory's first RBI of the day and puts the Red Foxes on the scoreboard. Still, in the top of the third inning, with the bases loaded, Matt Rubio hits a droopy single into right field that scores 2 runs and ties the game at 4. In the top of the fifth inning, after a home run by teammate Dylan Hoy, Nico Amory steps up with a base runner on first and hits the second home run of the inning to put the Foxes ahead by a score of 11-4. This lead proved to be too much for the Griffs to overcome, and Marist goes on to win by a score of 12-6. The two teams will face off again in an elimination game with the series tied at 1 game apiece. Sticking with the quarterfinal round of the MAC Championship Baseball Tournament, we have Game 3 of the Marist Red Foxes versus the Canisius Golden Griffs, with both teams in a winner-go-home situation. On just the second pitch of the game, Tyler Kapazinski hits one deep into right field for a home run to put the Red Foxes ahead early in the top of the first inning. Trailing by a score of 3-1, with the bases loaded, Mike Mazzara steps up and pounds a ball to left field that clears the fence. Just like that, with one swing, Canisius leads in the bottom of the third by 2 runs. After trading runs in the game being tied up at 6, Mike Mazzara steps up with runners on second and third. He hits a pop-up into right field that the Mariners player cannot get to, that scores a run, and the Griffs go on to win by a score of 10-7. Our own Zion Tordoff spoke with Skylar Pichardo following the season-ending loss.
All right, so hello, here we have Skylar Pichardo on the Mariners baseball team. Number 32, he's a pitcher, he's a redshirt senior, and he's from New York. So thank you very much for coming, and we'll get straight into it. So considering everything you went through with the season, you finished with a great record of 18-11. How much of a difference do you think it would have made if you were to have a proper training schedule without COVID restrictions?
Yeah, I feel like if we had a full training schedule without any COVID restrictions, especially within the MAC, all the schools were practicing before us, like a month or two even before us. So I feel like if we had the same opportunity as them, our record and the way we play with each other would be a lot better. We'll have that more of a connection, more practices. So we kind of struggled a little bit when it came to communication, like just executing the plays, because we just never really had the time to practice it. But we still had success, so that shows that we are a very talented team. So I believe that if we had more time, it would be good.
Absolutely. And how frustrating was the campus pause that heavily disrupted your practicing games, and especially in your situation when the pandemic took away most of your senior year last year in the spring?
What was that first part again?
How frustrating was the campus pause and like that heavily frustrated and disrupted your practicing games?
Yeah, it was extremely frustrating because especially for the older guys, like we came back thinking we were going to have a season. They promised us a season, and when they just said, when they just kept saying you guys can't play, it was really frustrating. But we all stayed together. We had our minds straight, and that's what the boys kept us together, and we just kept holding back.
That's perfect. And being one of the older guys on the team, having to take a leadership role under the circumstances must have been very challenging. Was there ever a thought that you wouldn't have a season? And even though you had that thought, how did you stay motivated throughout the whole year?
So in the beginning, when like the first 2 pauses started, we were like, all right, just on to next week. But then when the 3rd or 4th pause started coming, it was like the older guys were saying we might not have a season. But if we did have a season, which we did, we had to be ready. So we told the younger guys, guys, keep practicing, keep doing what you got to do on your own time, because when the time comes, we have to be ready.
Exactly. And after having a great college career, after having spent 5 years at Marist, what advice would you give to current and future Marist baseball players?
So my advice is to enjoy the time you have, because it could go away in a blink of an eye. Like, as I saw, my senior year got ripped away from me, but enjoy every second you have. Give everything you can to the sport you're playing. Don't take anything for granted. That's my advice.
That's awesome. Well, I wish you the best of luck in the future, and thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
That is a tough way to end the season in a year that brought so many new challenges. Congratulations to the Mariners baseball team on a great 2021 campaign, finishing with a record of 18-11.
On a lighter note, congrats to the women's rowing team, and best of luck in Florida this weekend, where they compete at the NCAA tournament as a 22 seed on Friday.
Until next time, I've been Ian Dorsey.
I'm Tyler Gregory.
Thanks for watching, and remember, go Red Foxes.